Hey y'all, it's your favorite cozy girl, Chi the Reality Queen, and I am back again with another episode of Robe Chronicles. Today we're talking about Married at First Sight, season 16, episode 10. Okay, woo! We start this episode off with Eris talking about he has COVID. My mother and myself, actually, as well, are both convinced that he was faking that because he didn't want to spend any more time with Jasmine. Like, I know it sounds bad, but he actually seems like that type of person to do that. And also, I saw somebody that was on Twitter talking about how they think that he did it to just prove that, like, or to see if Jasmine would really take care of him the way she says she would, or like how he keeps saying that's who she thinks she is. Maybe he had COVID. I believe it too because I think they test everybody every day, but we'll see. Then we see Clint talking to his mom, and he's asking his mom about, because I guess his mom is also a business owner, and he was like, oh, do you spend time, or do you like make time for your family and relationships and all this stuff? And she was like, yeah, of course I do. And then he was like, okay, great, because I think he thought his mom was like shading Gina, but then the mom was like, but not at the beginning. The first 4 years of owning a business, all I could think about, work on was that business. And I think that's not what Clint wanted to hear, because he's like, oh, Gina is like this, and this is an anomaly. Like, no, this isn't how people who own businesses are. She's just obsessed and it's annoying. But the truth is, Gina is just a normal business owner that's trying to make sure that her business is solid before she could take the breaks. And honestly, maybe that's why she shouldn't have been on the show, right? Because she has this new venture that she needs to be focusing on and putting all her effort into. So maybe she shouldn't have been on the show because of that. But, you know, it was kind of nice to see Clint's mom prove that Gina's not crazy for the amount of effort and time and, you know, conversation she's having about this new business. Chris and Nicole, they're just trucking along. You know, honestly, okay, they have some stuff that comes up a little later, but they're kind of just like a normal couple that's going through normal couple things. And I feel like Nicole is trying to escalate them to the level of a married couple. And I kind of feel like Chris is still holding them back as like a boyfriend and girlfriend, but they are a married couple. So it's like, I don't know. Kirsten is talking to her friend about how Shaq's really busy and he's not there at night. Like, their schedules are really off. And to me, I'm surprised a little bit. Not saying it's a bad thing, it's actually good. I'm surprised in a good way that she actually wants to be around him and she wants to, you know, snuggle with him and go to bed with him. And, you know, she says by the time he gets home, she's already asleep. So that's kind of an indication that they are trending in the right direction a little bit, I think. Well, on her part, because we knew he was attracted to her from jump. But like, the fact that she actually wants to be around him means that she's obviously starting to open up or like him a little bit more. Yeah, so which is good. Then Clint goes to Gina's salon. I think maybe his conversation with his mother. I mean, I know Gina talks about like, oh, I wanted him to meet my workers, my employees, but I think also that conversation with his mom made him realize like, okay, maybe I'm being a little, like, I'm tripping a little bit and I should be more interested in this venture that she has, because if we're married, like, it's not a joint venture, but I should be able to support her. So he shows up there. Her co-workers are awkward. It's an awkward interaction. Like, forced interactions are always a little awkward. Like, and it's on TV, so it's not just like, oh, this is the first time you're meeting somebody, but now we're recording you do it. Like, it gets it's getting weird. Like, it's a little weird. I don't like it. So it was a very weird interaction. Then Nicole plans a really cute date for her and Chris, like to try absinthe. I guess like an absinthe bar or whatever. I don't think I've ever had absinthe before, but I think I've heard it's disgusting and it smells like licorice. But either way, she plans that date and she's talking and she's like, oh, you know, talking about love and saying that they love each other. And, you know, I don't know if Nicole is ready to say I love you, but I definitely think she wants Chris to say it to her. Um, oof. And this scene, this particularly made me realize I don't really like Chris as much as I thought. Like, he's cool, but I think he's holding on so much to the trauma and the trouble and the bad situations that he's had in the past that it's actually hindering how he moves in this relationship with Nicole. Like, I think Nicole has said a lot about, like, oh, I've had bad experiences, like whatever, but she is looking at Chris like a completely new slate, and they're growing, and that's what she wants. Whereas Chris is looking at it like, I've seen this before. Let me not get tricked. Let me not put too much effort. Let me not fall in love. Let me not, like, it seems like he's purposely trying to hold himself back so he doesn't get hurt like he has in the past. Because he said that, he's like, well, I've been the first person to say that I love you and this and that and this and that, and it didn't turn out. And it's like, and because you can't take it back once you say it. And it's like, okay, true, but if you mean it, then it doesn't matter, right? Like, if you mean it when you say it, why would you want to take it back? You could fall out of love with somebody and that's okay. But if you mean it when you say it, then it's okay. But I think that because of whatever happened to him in the past, those past relationships, he's allowing that to stop how he's interacting with Nicole. And when I say I don't like him, it's not like, I mean, obviously it's his trauma to work through, but he might be the problem in this relationship. I know Nicole has spent a lot of time thinking it's going to be her, but it might actually be Chris. I actually am starting to see that he can't get out of those past situations, and it might just block him from being able to move forward with Nicole. So yeah, the experts gave the couples a task to get more emotionally connected. I don't know if Eris and Jasmine got the task, or maybe they just didn't focus on it. And I don't know if Kirsten and Shaq got the task. Like, I don't know. But anyways, they gave it to Clint and Gina, and they were talking about themselves so they can get more emotionally connected. And, you know, they both talk about situations and what molded them, or I can't even remember what they said exactly, but just stuff that happened in the past that was bad. And we find out that Clint had a girlfriend who got pregnant and she had a miscarriage. And honestly, it's so sad that happened. I feel sorry for that girl, whoever you are. I'm so sorry. But I feel like this was really a moment in which we get to see a more vulnerable side of Clint. I feel like Clint has spent this time being this like bravo, like macho man, and, you know, not saying like he doesn't come off as like he could be humble or he can anything, but him truly talking about how he felt after finding out that his girlfriend had a miscarriage actually made me say, like, okay, Clint got a little bit of a heart. And I'm not like, it's just a little sad to see. And I mean, it's nice to see as well as a viewer, because I have been writing Clint off. Like, I know I have said that he's now been trying in the relationship, but I wrote him off emotionally, right? But to see him actually get vulnerable, it was interesting, because usually when we're looking for vulnerability, we see it a lot from the women, and the men kind of give cookie cutter answers. Whereas this time around, this season, this episode specifically, we saw a lot of women giving cookie cutter vulnerability answers, where it's like, please, let's get to the root of it. Let's know what, you know, makes you sad. What kind of, whereas the men, not all the men, but, you know, Clint specifically was able to show a side of him that I thought we were going to see this season. So it was yeah, really, really interesting. And it shows to me that Clint's words he's putting into action, right? Like, he was saying, like, I really want to try, I want to make this work. I want to see if we can, you know, make something of this relationship. And you see it, like, he didn't have to say that. Like, later we see Kirsten and she can't get nothing out her mouth, and it's like, okay, girl, like, what's going on here? So yeah, Then, okay, so we see Shaq doing a little talk. Like I don't know what they were doing, but Shaq was talking about how he needs Kirsten to understand that he needs to be able to spend time with family and friends and, whatever. But the weird thing about that was she thinks he's doing stuff for school. So I don't know if maybe he's talking about something different, but it almost sounds like Shaq is saying like, oh, I'm staying away from the house to be with friends and family. Like, I don't want to be around Kirsten, which seems like it could be a possibility. But that is weird because that means he's lying to her already. Like, we're like 25 days in and you already lying to this girl. Like, what is the deal? But it just came off weird. It didn't come off as the reason why he's out is because of school. It came off as if the reason why he's out is because of he wants to be around people that he loves, and that's just not Kirsten. Then we see Eris and Jasmine. They're like, oh, we're going to give the dog a bath. I think the dog's name's Lucy. I'm not sure. But they're like, oh, we're going to go give the dog a bath. And Eris is like, I want to do this to kind of give back to her for what she did and how she helped me while I was sick. And I noticed they didn't say the time. How long was he sick? Y'all posted day 2 of COVID, and then now he ready to wash the dog? Are we on day 30? Has he been out like 5-6 days? Like, what are we looking at here, guys? Because I already don't think he was really sick, and now you're not giving us a timeline of when this is happening. Like, I don't know. But it's just, but then again, I guess maybe they're trying to keep everybody to make it look like everybody's on the same timeline. Like the clips are from that. But, yeah, I don't know. Eris is sus to me regardless at this point. So, I don't know. Then Chris and Nicole are talking, and Chris is like, oh, I have to admit something to you. And he tells Nicole that when they asked him what he thought about her, she was like, he was like, she's beautiful face, beautiful skin, smile, hair, whatever, but she is a little bit thicker than I'm used to. Oh, I feel so bad for Nicole because she said she used to suffer from body dysmorphia, and so this was really triggering to her. But I think she handled the situation pretty well. Like, she was like, don't use that to describe someone that you're dating or your wife or whatever, because it could potentially be very hurtful. And I know Chris, what he was trying to do, he was trying to get out in front of it. And I don't think he's wrong for that, because that clip would have gotten played. Let me tell you, that clip would have gotten played because of what happened with Clint. That clip would have gotten played because they would have been like, well, Clint wasn't the only one talking about size. But I don't think he meant anything wrong. I think he was really just trying to get ahead of it. But, when you're dealing with somebody who already has body issues, like, nothing you can say is right. Like, he was like, well, yeah, you call yourself thicker. Yes, of course she can. She can say whatever she wants about her body, but you gotta love it and say it's perfect, and that is the only comment you can make on her body. You can't be over here saying like, oh, she's a little thicker, because no matter how you want to say it, it's always gonna come off bad. There is no way to say someone is bigger than the girls you usually talk to and it's gonna sound good. There's no way. There's no way. Okay, so anybody watching this, if you are a man and you start dating a girl that's bigger than the girls that you usually talk to, keep that to yourself. People have eyes. People who know you have eyes, they will know that that person is bigger than most of the people that you usually talk to. So you don't actually have to verbalize that out loud. Just shut up your mouth. Keep it quiet. Keep it to yourself. Don't tell anybody, because it's not a good look. Yeah. Then Shaq invited his mentees over to meet Kirsten. I'm actually not going to talk about that. Gina and Clint went on a sailboat. I thought it was cute. It seemed like, I think, like I said, Clint really wants Gina to know him and know the things that he loves. I mean, he's a 40-year-old man. I think he's really trying to get married, and wants to stay married, not just get married, but stay married. And I think that he's trying to do things like, okay, this is really what I love, so let's do it. I want to see how you feel. And I'm glad Gina enjoyed it. Like, I thought she'd be a little bit more, I don't know, dismissive of it, but it seemed like she actually really had a good time as well. So I was happy for them. I was like, oh, this is so cute. Like, I actually really enjoyed watching the scene. And it made me want to go sailing, not for real, but for fake. Like, just a thought that I'm going to have and say, oh, let's go sailing. But when somebody actually puts sailing in front of me, I'm going to decline graciously. It's just, yeah, because that's who I am. But yeah. Oh, one thing about Shaq and his mentees, not that I want to talk too much about that situation because I don't. But he did talk about how he rejected a job for Kirsten, or I don't know if it was for Kirsten, but just because he's in this situation. And to me, he's like, oh, I'm doing this for us, for our relationship to grow. And it's like, if you're telling me that you considered me in making a decision, but you actually didn't ask me what I thought about said decision, did you really consider me, or did you just do what you wanted? And maybe what you wanted was to not take the job, right? Like, who knows? And so I don't really like that, because those are the type of things that Shaq does, it seems, and it makes him think that, oh, look at me, I'm so righteous, I'm so good. But it's like, you just did what you wanted to do. You, like, if you thought about Kirsten, you would have went to Kirsten and said, we're married now. I got this job offer. It is not in Nashville. I know you're from Nashville. I know your family's from Nashville. What do you think about it? Would you move with me? Do you not want to move with me? What do you think I should do? That's how you involve somebody and show that their opinion matters. You're working on growing y'all relationship. You're working on y'all relationship in general, and you're serious, is that you have that conversation. But the fact that you didn't even need to talk to her about it, but you thought not taking it was for her, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan. I don't like it. To me, it's like a red flag. I know some people think it's cute. I don't think so. Eris and Jasmine, actually, they are told to have that conversation. They're told to have an honest conversation about what would help them fall in love in the real world. And Eris asked Jasmine if she was like on her way to falling in love with him. And I'm like, the nerve of you. The effing nerve of you, sir. What have you done to make her want to fall in love with you? You literally won't kiss her or whatever, like nothing. So why would she fall in love with you? Like, why would she even be falling in love with you? Just because y'all in the same house, living under the same roof? Sir, no. And I'm glad she said it. She was like, no, like nothing. Like, we're not there yet. And I'm like, yes, girl. Because his ego is getting too inflated on her. Like, oh, she wants me way more than I want her, and this and that. If she had even said anything close to it could get there, he would have ran with that and started saying, oh, she's in love with me and I'm just not there yet. So I'm glad she shut that down quick. Then Shaq and Jasmine went to go look at some plants and like pick plants out. And I realized, like, I don't know if Shaq is finally over the beauty of Kirsten, which I think he is. And so he's not like giving her no room. Like, she can't say nothing. He's being very pushy about the plants that they get. And I know he's the plant person. Like, he's the person, that's his interest. That's his, thing that he likes to do. So he's bringing her into his life. But it was really like, it seemed pretty aggressively pushy about the plants that they picked, what they did, what plants look nice, whatever. I was just like, okay. It kind of made me look at Shaq different. Like, I feel like this episode really made me look at Shaq different. Like, I was like, You see this face? That was the same face I had watching almost every interaction with Shaq and Kirsten. And not just because of him, because Kirsten got me to cringing too, but like, it's like he's way more pushy than I thought he was. And you know, that's the thing about people. You can really only hide your true self for so long, right? Like, yes, the cameras are there, but the cameras are there all the time. So eventually, little parts of you are going to start to seep out and people will know you. Um, ugh. Eris and Jasmine's conversation, never have I ever game. Ugh, that just, he was trying to call her boring and that she hasn't lived because she's not having orgies and cheating on people and all this stuff. And I'm like, Eris, you're 39. And I'm not saying that some people, they go and they have fun and they do things. And some people, you know, aren't like that. That's all I'm going to say. Some people just aren't like that. I mean, there's nothing wrong with either way, but to say that she's not fun or she hasn't lived, I'm like, so living is cheating on people? Like, what are you trying to say? I don't know. It was just really weird. It made me uncomfortable. Jasmine was like, in the after party, she's like, oh, well, you know, he's always honest. And I'm like, yeah, I guess it is nice that somebody is honest. Well, he hasn't been honest on why he's not really feeling her. I think I have an idea, but no one wants to say it directly. So, okay, I won't say it directly either. But, you know, I think that it was just uncomfortable. I don't know. I just felt really like, I don't like to talk down on people because of the sexual experiences they've had or they haven't had, because I don't know their situation. I don't know their life. So, you know, do what you got to do. But yeah, it just made me uncomfortable. I didn't care for it. It surprisingly seems, based on this episode, that Kirsten is really trying. Is it Kirsten or Kirsten? I can't, because Shaq says Kirsten. I don't know. Whatever that girl name is. Kirsten. I want to say it right. I'm going to listen next time. I really think it seems like she's trying more, or she's falling for him more, or she's liking him more, or even just liking being around him more, because it seems like she's trying to do more for them as a couple. Like, she wants to be around him, she wants to whatever, and like, so she set up this date of them doing like a spa day in the house, and they were talking with blindfolds and all that. And I think it sounds silly. It's not silly because they did it, but it might sound silly. But I think sometimes you're able to be more vulnerable with a blindfold because you're not looking at the person that you're talking to. It's kind of like talking to yourself. And so when they were asked about their vulnerabilities, you know, Shaq said he's insecure and he doesn't know if he's doing the right thing or whatever he was saying. And like, good answer, right? They asked Kirsten, he was like, I want to know something about you and all that. And okay, now this is just me. Again, I don't know the edit. I don't know. I try to account for that, right? Because I don't know exactly how things are edited. But when Kirsten started to say what she was saying, like, oh, I'm really quiet and shy, I felt like there was a but coming, or there was like, it was a lead up to a follow up. Like, there was going to be more. And he like cut her off and was like, we already know that about you. And I'm like, okay, I feel like you didn't really give her the space to say what she was going to say. And I know myself. I'm not saying me and Kirsten are the same, but I know myself. And if somebody cuts me off when I'm getting to who I am and trying to explain to that person how and who I am, you've just shut me down. Like, that's it. I'm not saying anything. But I feel for the purpose of this show, Kirsten shouldn't have allowed that to shut her down, because she did say, oh, there's a lot you don't know about me, this and that. And then all of a sudden he was like, okay, what is it? What is it? And all of a sudden she had nothing. And I'm like, girl, don't do this, because like, I've had to call you boring so many times, and I don't want to call you the beautiful, boring girl. I don't want to call you that, but you're making me call you that because you're not allowing anybody to get to know you. Like, you're on this show, and the only thing I can say about you is that you are beautiful and a realtor. But other than that, you don't allow yourself to be vulnerable with people or on camera, because I don't know what you're doing off camera, but you're not allowing us to see who you are or see your personality. Like I said, she's been trying to do little things for Shaq, and it comes off as she's trying to get more comfortable with him. But it's just like, girl, I need more from you. I need you to either get mad or get sad or be happy or show some type of something to let us know that there is more to you. And I know there's more to her because obviously, right? But it's just like, I feel like maybe the camera's being there and she maybe doesn't want people who know her to know these things about her. But it's like, you don't go on Married at First Sight if you don't want all of who you are. I'm not saying all your business, but all of who you are to be seen. And I feel like she's keeping us from who she is. And I feel like she's probably a really likable, fun girl, but that's not coming out. Like, that's what I believe in my heart of heart. I really do. I think she's probably likable, fun, has a lot of friends, whatever, but it's not showing. That's not what we're seeing as the viewer. So I don't know. But what's really funny in that scene, I fell out. I actually was cracking it. I had to rewind. Is Kirsten goes and thanks Shaq at the end of that conversation for being patient and whatever. And again, you don't know the edit, but Shaq doesn't say anything. And then they start playing this song about silence. I'm like, is MAFS production getting shady? Because, man, that was the song. Like, I had to rewind. I was like, wait, are they trying to be shady? I cracked up. I was like, MAFS production is getting shady. Okay, I think I like it. I think they should be more shady to these people. But it was funny. I'm thinking about it and I'm like, wait, did they really just play a song about someone's silence? But yeah, then Gina and Clint, they're the last couple we see. I think, I can't remember what happened, but they go to the PBR, which is the professional bull riding, and that also looked like a really fun date. They're growing on me as a couple. I think they still have their issues, but they definitely are, like, you know, like I said, one thing about MAFS, and I think it's the reason why we watch and we like it, is we like to see couples journeying together, like overcoming and choosing each other and having a good time. And you could kind of decide if they're going to be together or not at the end, or make speculation. But I feel like watching this season, it's so hard to watch, and the only speculation I can make is no, none of these couples are going to stay together because they all are just so hard to watch. And so, like, I know a lot of people talked about Dom, and she wasn't in this episode at all, but it's like Dom knew, like, okay, let's not keep these people on a you know, journey for the next 8 weeks. We're not going to be together. I'm gonna say no. So why don't I say no today? And I just feel like that was a good idea, because all these other couples are just struggling a little bit. Like Eris and Jasmine, most of their interactions are cringe. Kirsten and Shaq, their interactions are a little cringe too, because it's like, y'all not on the same page. Nicole and Chris, definitely a good budding relationship, but Chris's previous relationships and his past are going to keep him from having a happy relationship in the future, not just with Nicole if it doesn't work out, but anybody, because he's constantly paranoid of what somebody's going to do that his ex did. And then Gina and Clint, I think they should work. Like, on paper, I look at them and I'm like, oh wow, this is a couple that I just imagine working. I don't know why, but I do. I look at them and that's who I would see Clint with, and that is who I would see Gina with. But for some reason, they're not getting over that block or that hump. I don't know what it is. But, you know, I wish all these couples the best. The next episode seems like we're getting back to some more nitty gritty. I'm excited to see it. I hope you guys are excited to come watch my recap afterwards. Please like, comment, subscribe, share this video with people. Tell me what you think in the comments. Like, I want to know if you guys are thinking what I'm thinking, or if you guys think I'm completely off base, right? Like, that's what I want to hear. Please let me know in the comments, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.